Yeah. I broke my hip in Europe once a while back, a year or so ago, and I had to learn to walk again. I learned to walk when I was 1 year of age, and at 101, I learned to walk again.
Sorry.
Oh, that's the power, yeah. I want to talk about a major breakthrough in the world of health. You remember Fleming? Ever hear of Fleming? Hear of penicillin? The one that discovered penicillin? That was a breakthrough. Ever hear of this man who did some flash studies and discovered the germ theory? That was a breakthrough. Now, in 2010, we've had another breakthrough. It's very exciting. It came in the medical literature, several articles. If you live a certain lifestyle, avoiding 7 risk factors, you lower your chance of a heart attack 80%. You lower your chance of the first stroke by 80%. You lower your chance of getting diabetes by 88%. Now, the people in Guam need to know that, because that's where there's lots of diabetes. Okay? So, these risk factors are important. You need to know what they are. And then, when I get through telling you what they are, tell me what group of people teaches those. Okay, first risk factor, tobacco. Don't smoke. Second risk factor, alcohol. Don't drink alcohol. Third risk factor, exercise. Don't be lazy. Exercise every day. Fourth risk factor, don't get overweight. Okay, what's another risk factor? Huh? Okay, they've said cut down on meat and sugar. And the Americans didn't like that meat business in there. So they changed it, eat more fruits and vegetables. But they actually made a new one. Eat no more than 5% of your calories from saturated fat. You have a dietitian calculate your diet of saturated fat, and you'll soon learn that 5% means vegetarian diet. And then they added 2 biochemical things. They had hypertension, high blood pressure, and they had high serum cholesterol. They added those 2. But actually, the first 5 take care of both those things if you do the first 5. Have you heard of those 5 before? What group of people teaches that? Seventh-day Adventists have taught this all the time. Smoking, alcohol, exercise. Now, we've done pretty well on not smoking. We've been very good on that. Alcohol, a little bit less good. A few people still drinking, having trouble getting over it. What else? Exercise. We used to say that quite a bit. You used to teach that quite a bit. Don't teach it so much anymore. And get overweight? Do you think we have as many Adventists that are fat compared to non-Adventists? We're getting up there. We're getting pretty close. Okay. So these are the things that Adventists have been teaching for years. Now, our problem is only 3% of Americans are living this lifestyle. And that's too bad. That's too bad. So, lowering cardiovascular disease, heart attack and stroke, 80% by that lifestyle. No medicine involved. You can't blame the doctor. You didn't live this way yourself. That's your problem, not the doctor's problem. So it's kind of exciting that everybody's saying you should live like Adventists teach. Only they don't say it's Adventists teaching it, but it's Adventists have been teaching that for years and years and years. Now, you need to see fatty acids. You're going to learn about fats tonight. And you're going to get this sheet if you want it, this sheet with these fatty acids. They said, cut down on saturated fat. Don't get more than 5% of your calories from saturated fat. That's the red line. That means all the carbons have the 4 legs out to hydrogens or something. So saturated fat means the whole thing is full of hydrogens. You can't add any more hydrogen to the molecule. What's the problem with hydrogen? Saturated fat tends to raise your blood cholesterol. Okay? So the bottom 5 have the most saturated fat. There's 3 kinds of fatty acids. There's one that doesn't have, that has all saturated fat. That's just called saturated fat. There's one that's called polyunsaturated fat. More than one double bond in the molecule where you can add more hydrogen. And there's one called monounsaturated fat. So you have 3 types of fatty acids. But as a saturated fat, we're to limit. That's the only one we're to limit, by the way. Now, it's the red line that represents the saturated fat. What's the bottom one on the list? Let's pass these out, these sheets out, so they have them in their hand. Red line is coconut oil. Oh, I thought that was supposed to be a health food. The one who did our Adventist health study, Dr. Gary Fraser, was a New Zealander. And he tells me that in the Pacific Islands, they have coconut islands. The ones that eat the most coconut oil are the ones that have more diabetes, more heart attack. It's not a health food. Not a health food. Okay? Now, how about people from Fiji? In Doug Batchelor's church up there, the Hilltop Church in Sacramento, you know, I saw some Fiji people. And they say, we eat coconut oil. It's the only oil we use. And I said, and you don't have any heart attacks or diabetes? Oh, we got lots of that. Yes, they do. They have lots of that. Okay? That's the thing to avoid. That's the saturated fat. Okay? Now, what about butter? How many of you know that Ellen White said we should not use butter? Did you know that? Have you heard that? Ellen White said we should not use butter long before the scientists said it. That's the next highest thing in saturated fat. Then what else do we have? Palm oil. Palm oil. Where's that palm oil come from? That's overseas. We don't grow it here. It's overseas. But we ship it in. And you read the labels on your food, and you oftentimes see palm oil listed. But fortunately, we don't have lots of it. Then comes lard, pig fat. That's high in saturated fat, lard. Cottonseed oil also. We grow cottonseed oil, but we shouldn't eat it. Use it for machines or something else, but not eating it, okay? Then peanut oil. From here on up, we start saying there's less saturated fat. It's okay. Chinese like to cook with peanut oil. So they say, okay, you can have the peanut oil. Now, if I just went by saturated fat, I'd probably pick Canada oil, canola. That has the least. Do you see that? Least red. Canola. That's a good oil. Now, we didn't think it was good to start with. Why? Because there was a fatty acid in rapeseed oil, it's called, Canada oil. There was a fatty acid in there that increased heart attack risk. So you know what they did? They planted a whole field of this rapeseed, picked all the ones that have very little of that fatty acid in it, took that and planted another field of it, and kept repeating that until they got rid of it. We don't have it there anymore. So canola oil now is a good oil, although to begin with, everybody said it's bad. So you understand why. But we got rid of the bad part of it, okay? So canola oil is a good oil. If I didn't tell you anything more, I would say use that oil. That would be number one. But the ratio between the good ones, polyunsaturated, and the saturated ones is important too. The one that has the best ratio is soy oil. Soy oil. I can go down and show you which ones are real good. For example, here's one corn oil, commonly used. Corn oil. It's good because it has some kinds of fatty acids in it that competes with cholesterol for absorption. Keeps you absorbing so much cholesterol. So it's a good oil. Olive oil is a good oil because it's monounsaturated. Only one place where you get hydrogens. And Ellen White says that's good to be eaten at any meal. With fruits, with the vegetable, any meal. It's good. Wouldn't avocado be in the same position? Probably. High fat, okay? So, above the bottom 5 or 6, above the bottom 5, it's recommended you eat it. You use those. Don't eat those on the bottom 5. So they're recommending don't eat lard. Official, scientific recommendation, don't eat lard. You don't have to be a Seventh-day Adventist to do that. Everybody else should know not to eat lard. Actually, beef fat you shouldn't use either. Beef fat, okay? In 2015, there was a group of scientists who were invited to come to the health department, agriculture department, and health department, and tell Americans what they should eat. What are the best foods? You know what they said? Vegetarian diet. That was 2015. But when it got up to the heads of the department, they said, that's too strict. We shouldn't say that. So they said, eat lean meats. with your fruits and vegetables. But the scientists said, don't eat lean meat, eat vegetarian diet. That's what the scientists said. Okay? So, we're trying to get people to do that. What percent of the population lives this way? 3%. How do we get them to change? Oh, that's why you're in the world. Help people to make the changes. You're here to help people to learn how to do this. Now, you should teach them that there's some fatty acids your body doesn't make, but you have to have them to live. What are those fatty acids? There's two of them particularly, and that is the green and the blue. But before that, I should tell you about the yellow. The yellow is a monounsaturated fatty acid, like an olive oil. Oleic acid, it's called. And that's high in avocados. That's a good one. At first, we thought it neither raised nor lowered blood cholesterol. Then we learned it actually lowers it. Okay? So the yellow ones are good. And look at canola oil. Look how much yellow there is there. It's pretty good. Okay? So you have different kinds of oil. They're all good for different reasons. So actually, a scientist might say, if you know a lot about it, you should vary it to among all the good ones. But if you just have one, canola oil would be the one to have. Okay? Now, the two essential ones you have to have. One is the blue one, which is, I have it down here, called linoleic acid. It's an omega-6 fatty acid. In the bottom, it has the blue square there. That's linoleic acid. That's in the polyunsaturated fatty acids. It's in most plant fats. It's easily found. So that's good. The American Heart Association said it would be well for you to have as much as 10% of your calories from such fatty acid. It's so good at lowering blood cholesterol. But there's another one, essential, you have to have. It's hard to find. It's the green one here, alpha-linolenic acid. That's in very few foods, but it's in flaxseed. You see how much green there is in flaxseed? 57% of the calories are alpha-linolenic acid. But even canola oil, not too bad, 11%. Okay? So those are good fatty acids. We need to have a certain amount of those. We can, if we're deficient, that's not good. Okay? But the main thing you should learn from this lecture is that you should cut your saturated fat down to 5 to 6% of the calories. We're getting a lot more than that. We need to cut it down. And here's the foods to cut out: coconut oil, butter, palm oil, lard, cottonseed oil, and I'd say beef fat also. Cut it out. And then you vary among the others, the ones that you do use, okay? Now, with a heart attack, you lower your risk 80% of having a heart attack if you do this. You lower your risk of having the first stroke 80%. You lower your risk of getting diabetes, type 2 diabetes, 88% if you do this. In Guam, they have so much diabetes. They got to get this message. Now, this came around in this country about 2010. and it's not gotten out yet. Public health department has not put out enough information to get people to understand this. But they should. It's factual. American Heart Association agrees to it. European Heart Society agrees to it. The World Health Organization agrees to it. They all agree to it. But they are not pushing it to get people to do it. But we need to get Adventists as the health educators of the world to tell people about it. Okay? Now, another circulatory problem we have is hypertension. We've stopped smoking in this country fairly well. Only 11% of our adults are still smoking. And in the state where they're a little bit smarter than other places, California, it's only 9%. Only 9% are smoking. That's really good. Only 9% of our people smoke in this state. Now, we need to get them off their cigarettes too. But if we can get that down, it'll really help. Since the 1960s, we've dropped our heart disease death rate down by about 2/3. People don't realize that. But we've done a good job in this country of dropping our heart disease mortality rate. Okay? Now, hypertension and overweight then are the two big things left that are helping to keep the heart attack rate up. Hypertension and obesity. Now, we said obesity is one of the big factors. We said lack of exercise is one of the big factors. With blood pressure, hypertension, exercise is the best thing possible to prevent it. People want to know what I should do to prevent it. Exercise. That's what you should do to try to prevent hypertension. Exercise. Now, my parents died fairly early in life. My dad was 76 when he died. My mother was in her late 60s when she died. Here I am, 101. 2 months will be 102. And my son says, you're going to live to 110. I don't know, but I hope so. I'm going to live to be 110. But I think most people could live to be 120 if we followed all the rules of preventive medicine. The vegetarian foods help to lower the risk of hypertension. The plant foods help to increase the risk of hypertension. Salt, 8.5 grams of salt a day. If you get it down there, you will lower your risk of hypertension by 2 millimeters, 2.1 millimeter. If you go from 8.5 to 5.75, you lower it 2.1 millimeter. If you lower it from 5.75 grams of salt a day down to 3 grams, you lower it 6.7 milliliters. Together, it's 7.2 millimeters or 3 millimeters. You lower your blood pressure. Okay? So salt is important. We need to lower our salt intake. All the 7 risk factors help for you to keep your blood pressure down where it should be. All of them. Exercise is extremely important. I was teaching at Loma Linda University, been teaching there many years. It got quite smoggy down there, quite smoggy. So my wife had said, we're going to quit. I turned in my resignation letter to Dr. Mervyn Harding. Oh, he said, what can we do to keep you to stay? But I quit. I decided I would find the best place to live. I found it in North Fork, California, exact center of California, east, west, north, south. Above Fresno, into the mountains of Bonar, about 3,800 feet elevation, just above the snow line. 10 minutes below us, it doesn't snow, but up there where we were, it snows. Now, we've had to run away many times because of fires. Fires we've had to get out of there so, many times. So we've gone. But my daughter-in-law, who built this house, according to her specification, she did it in such a way that she had a porch unburnable. And the siding of the building is all metal. So even though fires came, it didn't hurt us any at all. They made us go out of the place like everybody else did, but fire didn't hurt our place at all. We have about 26, 27 acres there, and it was all forest. People thought somebody had sold us a bunch of garbage for place to live. It was a good place. It was a good place. We backed into the national forest. No houses behind us. We had a stream running the length of the place. And just beyond our property, there were 4 or 5 waterfalls that are like Yosemite, beautiful falls. Now, you do have to find out if the girls are down there naked or not before you walk down, but but it's beautiful waterfalls. And I cleared up a whole driveway down to civilization, and I cleared up 2 acres of land planted 80 fruit trees. One year I planted 3,000 strawberry plants. People said to me, what do you do with all those strawberries? They don't understand, but everybody likes strawberries. It's the best way to make friends there is. Give them some of your strawberries. But we grow strawberries every year. We grow grapes. One of the best things was grapes. We produce maybe 60 quarts of grape juice, at least every year. We had all kinds of food, excellent food up there in the garden. Everybody came to see our garden. It was so beautiful. So for hypertension, exercise is extremely important. All those risk factors we mentioned, get rid of the tobacco, get rid of the alcohol. Now, the tobacco. When did Americans know they should get rid of tobacco? About 1964, when the president came out with his official physical fitness report, he came out with that report. He said, you shouldn't use tobacco. Okay? But what else do you have to think about? I had a lady helping me making these graphics things. She did this for her business. She made graphics for advertisers, made a lot of money doing this. She did it all free for me, made a lot of booklets for me, teaching help. But she's a little bit big. I mean, a little bit big, kind of big. She never told me how much she weighed, but she was huge. I said, Kathy, I know what you have to do. exercise. A person that's obese who exercises every day is going to lose weight. He's not going to even get overweight. Oh, she said, where's that study? I said, I'll give it to you. And she said, well, I need another one because my associate's just like me. And so I gave these two ladies this beautiful scientific study showing if you're overweight, but you exercise every day, you're not going to get fat. It's kind of exciting. It's kind of exciting. So, Kathy, did she exercise? I said, what exercise do you do? I ride a horse. Well, I know the horse gets exercise. But how about the person on top of the horse? So that was a problem. Yeah, you gotta do the exercise, not just the horse. Okay. Hypertension. Salt. Too much salt will push your blood pressure up. So if you cut down to 3 grams of salt from 8.75 grams, you will cut your blood pressure down by 6.7 millimeters. That's really worthwhile. Okay? So exercise will help you to do that. Any question now anybody have? Heart disease is our main killer. Cardiovascular disease, heart disease, and stroke together are killing more people in the United States than the next 5 leading causes of death combined. So that's why I'm talking about cardiovascular disease. That's what's killing our people. That's the main thing. Killing more people than the next 5 leading causes of death combined. We've got to change it. Now, if we change it, what's going to happen to our people? Well, there's 3 places that have to get changed. We've got to do a better job of controlling it in women. We haven't worried about women. And you know, we've been giving them statin pills. Statin pills. Most of the studies showing how good statin was at lowering your blood cholesterol, most of those studies were done on men. There might have been a few women mixed in with them, but not many women. So they decided to do it just on women. They did 3 studies just on women. And the women who took the statins died sooner than those who didn't take it. I don't think women should be taking these statin pills. Okay? Now the men. We now have regulations from the government, top leaders, that for the men, if you're over 75, don't worry about your cholesterol level. Don't take statins. Have you heard this? Everybody says, take them. They should know. The recommendation is, don't take them if you're over 75. So some people just have to wait till they're 75, then they can stop all that. But statins are dangerous. Statins are dangerous. And a lot of people don't realize that. Okay? But we need to stop the statin pills. Okay? Any question any of you have? Yeah.
I'm concerned on your lard. I know the Adventists are not for lard, but yet it's up there.
I'm not. Come up here. And we were recording this, so we'll get it here recorded.
So she's asking about lard. She says, Adventists are against lard. Bible teaches that, but she's saying up here, you're saying it's pretty good up here.
Yeah, I know it's in the lower, but
It's in the bottom 5.
But
It's in the bottom 5 that they say you shouldn't use.
yeah. But I thought even coconut oil, I thought was good.
Yeah, most people thought coconut was good health food, but it isn't. In the islands, there's that use more coconut oil, they have more heart attacks and diabetes.
If you can look at statistics. If you've seen people from Samoa or Fiji, I have a lot of friends, and their culture. I've been to Fiji. I've been to some of these places. The people are generally very large.
And they walk slow.
They're strong. They're really big and strong too, because they exercise a lot. That's one of their saving graces. They exercise a lot, but rarely do they have their longevity is not fantastic.
When I broke my hip over in Slovakia, my good friend who is in charge of Weimar, the doctor there, his wife picked a person from Fiji to come over and pick me up and bring me home. And it wasn't real tall, but he's strong. He could drag me to the lavatory. I couldn't walk, but he'd drag me to the lavatory. He had to do that once. But he was strong. He's from Fiji. But in Fiji, they're used to coconut oil as their favorite oil. What oils do most of you use? Olive? It's a good oil. That's the oleic acid, the monounsaturated fatty acid, and avocado similarly. Those are good oils. How many of you are using this flaxseed oil? That's a good one to use. That really lowers your blood cholesterol nicely. It doesn't take very much of it to do it. So that's an essential one. We have to have it. Body can't make it. So you got to get it in your diet. Okay? What other oils do people use here?
Vegetable oil.
Hmm?
We said vegetable oil.
What is vegetable oil? What vegetable? Usually it means corn oil.
Right.
Usually it means corn oil. And that's okay.
So should we be looking at the labels of food we buy to see what oil they use?
Yes, we should. But here's ones not to use: coconut oil, butter, palm oil, lard, cottonseed oil. Those are the ones for sure the medical people say don't use.
What about margarine?
Margarine is better than butter. People don't seem to know that, but it is. If you hydrogenate margarine, yes, you form some fatty acid, but you got to get some where it's made by emulsification, not hydrogenation. And you can do that. Now,
So the kind of margarine you get is important if you get margarine. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
all right? Now I'm talking to you about the disease that is killing more people than the next 5 leading causes of death combined. So it's a lot of people dying for this in this country unnecessarily. And we have these lifestyle things. Even the Bible now is beginning to put it in there. Lifestyle. It's 3 places in the latest scripture translation. 3 places now about your lifestyle, your exercise. What other subjects are you interested in on health? Yeah.
Any remedies to stop a stubborn cough?
Remedies, do you know any remedies to stop a stubborn cough?
Stopping. If you have cough more than 3 weeks, you're supposed to have a chest x-ray. Make sure you don't have tuberculosis or something like that, but you're supposed to have a chest x-ray. If it's tuberculosis, we have a medicine that works very well. Now, I was TB controller for San Bernardino County Health Department. And there were people went to Loma Linda University to get treatment. And this good doctor who lived a long time, you would all know him if I mentioned his name, he did chest surgery. And he diagnosed one of these patients I saw, left upper lobe problem of the lung. I sent my public health nurse out to his house, got his sputum, found out he had active TB. He threatened to sue the doctor, sue the institution. I got to stop. But we had people like this. I had a doctor saw one of Eisenhower's cousins over in the Ontario district. He said he just had some chronic problem there in his lungs, but no big problem. I took his sputum, found out he had active TB. He had active TB. I knocked our TB rate down so fast in our council, in our whole nation. I was one of the best ones to get the rate way down. They gave me special honor because of it. You know, I went over one place to a hotel there at Loma Linda, Redlands Boulevard. They said the man I was looking for with active TB was there. I should catch him. I went over there. He just left. You see him? He's going by on the freeway right now. I took out after him. I got ahead of him and gradually moved him over to the edge, get him to stop. He had active TB, so I brought him back into the hospital. Those are the days you had to do that. Now we don't have to do that because we know within about 3 weeks on the medicines, they are not communicable anymore. So we don't have to really control them by isolating them. So that's exciting. But I was TB controller for a couple of years at Loma Linda County. Now, next week I want to talk
Tomorrow, you mean tomorrow. Next week, you mean tomorrow.
Next week, tomorrow. I'm going to talk about another subject, overweight. We have a big problem in our church with overweight, and we need to do something about it. And if we just give the people a few ideas. Now, I'm going to make all this nutrition business extremely easy for you to understand. I'm going to give you a university course in nutrition now in one sentence. So listen up carefully. Eat at the proper time. That means no snacking. Eat at the proper time. A variety, not all one meal, but over 10 days. Eat at the proper time a variety of natural, non-processed foods in quantities for ideal weight. That's what you need to know. In one sense, I can tell you everything you need to know about nutrition. It's amazing. And of course, if you read Counsels on Diet and Foods, you get it all. Any more questions?
So he said tomorrow we're talking about obesity. He said it's a big problem. I'm not sure if that was
Now,
a double meaning on purpose, that it's a big problem.
now, tobacco, we ruled it out when the government showed us the scientific study in 1964. And then comes alcohol, the next big one. And it's Dr. Fleming up at the University of Seattle did the biggest study ever. He studied it in 157 countries, funded by the fellow wealthy man who has a home right behind the University of Seattle. You know who that is? The man who has that home back there, big home. He and his wife kind of separate a little bit now, but he had a lot of money, and he funded this study. Now, this man was a drinker, social drinker. Not a lot, but he wanted to know how much was safe. And he found out how much it was. 0. He says you shouldn't drink any at all, and he's reviewing his own lifestyle now to see what he ought to do. Whether he's going to cut it all out or not. But he said you shouldn't do it. The least bit of alcohol increases your risk of dying prematurely. Least bit. Have Adventists, did they know this? That alcohol wasn't good? Have we been telling people about it? I'll tell you, we are the health educators of the world. We were given the information to tell everybody. And we should do that. I'm excited about this. Exercise every day? We should know that. Exercise every day. Cut down on meat and sugar? We should know that. We should know that. And we should teach other people these things. Okay? Well, I'll see you back here tomorrow evening.
Yes, thank you all for coming. It's been a pleasure having you all here. I hope you were able to learn a few things. You have that handout you can take with you. You can research more yourself. Feel free to come up and ask him questions afterward. If you have some individual questions, you can do that. And
tomorrow night, you're going to learn how to tell if you're overweight.
so,
I mean, the easiest way is to lay down flat on the floor, put a board between your chest and your stomach. If it goes up towards your stomach, you know you're overweight.
he'll give more scientific.
Or if you get on a scale, the needle goes out of sight, you know you're overweight. Or if you pinch between your rib cage and your hip, the fat there, if it's more than an inch, you're overweight. Now we have scientific ways. We'll give you a handout how to do it scientifically. We now know how to do it scientifically.
Are you gonna do a night on arthritis?
Sorry?
Arthritis?
Are you doing one on arthritis?
You know, there's so many causes of arthritis. That's one of our problems. But did you know that the Adventists have a lot less disease? Let me give you some statistics right now. They did a study in Southern California of all the Adventists, some 20, 30,000 of them, compared them to the general population. In the general population of the men, 19.5% of the men live to be 85 or older. But Adventist vegetarian men, 48.6% of them live to be 85 or older. Women live longer than men. In the general population, the average woman in the U.S. lives to be about 35.3%, or live to be 85 or older, 35.3%. But for Adventist women, 60.1%. Adventists have the health message. We should be giving it to others. Thank you.
God bless you all. Have a good night, and we look forward to seeing you back.